Radical.
Just got a comment from Razzo on my thoughts on that episode of Pawn Stars with Pat the Nest Punk, where I talked about, Pat the Nest Punk pretending like he was going to sell his Nest cart, his championship Nest cart, like his one claim to fame pretty much. He had no intention of selling it on that show. It was just set up and everything like that. Razzo talked about gatekeeping, which is something I've never discussed before on the channel, I do not think. And Razzo said that, well, Pat is very knowledgeable about the scene, the retro gaming scene, but ultimately his snobby attitude made him stop watching his content. That's the problem many people have with Pat the Nest Punk and why they can't stand Pat the Nest Punk. It's the snobby ass attitude he has. It's the gatekeeping. Let me explain to you what a gatekeeper is. Well, a gatekeeper, in many respects, you could have gatekeeping in business, you could have gatekeeping in retro hobbies. There's a lot of anime gatekeepers, people that, don't want somebody to become a fan of an anime that they like. What? You're a fan of Pokemon? Yeah, whatever, as if, I was there from the beginning. You don't even know what a Raichu is, or a Bulbasaur, motherfucker. Who do you think you are? I'm the king of Pokemon. It's about people wanting to be the kings of these hobbies, and just kind of keeping people out, or, making new people go through a lot of shit to become part of their hobby. You see it in like Magic the Gathering, you see it in anime, you see it in video games, you see it everywhere. You see it in like sports where people don't want you. Literally, earliest in people's life, there's gatekeeping. There's kid gatekeepers, we're not going to let you on the team. We can only have 5 on this basketball team. You've got to prove yourself. The thing is, you have adults like Pat the Nest Punk that gatekeep. How sad is that? People like him that act like elitist, snobbish pricks. And the thing is, at that point in your life, you would think that you would want, to be open and inviting to people. But I see it, probably the most I see it on YouTube is in the retro video game community. Both the collectors, the people that collect for the purpose of selling specifically, when it comes to ROMs. Like, if I had a conversation with Pat the Nest Punk about some old NES games, he would probably be shocked when we talk about the same games, but, I don't have the actual copy of the game. He'd be like, what are you talking? You don't have the game. Oh, God. And right now, there's probably some people listening to this going, Rick, that's a reveal. You mean that gameplay? That crispy, clean gameplay that we see on your videos? That's ROMs? Some people might fucking unsubscribe after hearing that shit, That's sad. Gatekeeping, not only Pat the Nest Punk, not only in the anime communities, but I think when it comes to gatekeeping, it's one of the most toxic things I have ever seen. The most toxic things I've ever seen. You make a choice whether or not to be just an elitist, prickish snob, or to be the kind of person that, opens their arms and says, hey, you know what? I love Nintendo. You love Nintendo? I like Nintendo games, Right? How about just come and join me in my hobby? And if you're rude to me, then yeah, we'll have an issue or whatever. But, it just seems like Pat, especially when he's responding to a lot of people that pay him money to answer their questions, he cuts them off. He is just so fucking rude, unnecessarily rude to people that are not rude to him. And I talked about how he just like lost his shit when somebody, brought up, hey, just reveal how much you pay for the games. Like, he was so offended at that. That's a typical gatekeeping elitist move. Maybe in collecting communities, maybe, in the British collecting community, not just in the US. in the Australian collecting community. I've heard from many people that just don't really like the U.S. retro collecting scene. They do not like Pat the Nest Punk, and I get that. I could see that because ultimately Pat the Nest Punk, I think, does more harm for retro gaming and retro game collecting on YouTube than good. Unless he's talking about, con systems, which is one thing I do like about Pat the Nest Punk that he does from time to time, is, talk about scammers and the scam systems and all that kind of stuff. Scumbag Seller of the Week, though. Somebody made a comment and they joked about it, how Pat was a scumbag seller of the week by trying to get several tens of thousands of dollars more for a game. Even though it was a joke on there, on that Pawn Stars. You might say he was a scumbag seller of the week by trying to ask for $35,000 when he only paid $12,500 for the damn thing a year earlier.